So Warhammer is coming to World of Tanks console. Let's just get right into the content and start with the event op that's taking place over the next 5 weeks. This is another community challenge with 2 stages. You will align yourself with a team, much like the holiday ops, and earn rewards along the way as your team gathers points such as silver, boosters, consumables, Warhammer exclusive emblems and inscription vouchers, and discounts on the new tanks. Which team you choose changes your tanks that you get discounted, and what emblems and inscriptions you receive. For the first stage, it's a battle against the orcs. If you align yourself with the Sisters of Battle, you will receive those themed emblems and inscriptions, and a discount on the new Era 2 medium tank, the Ignis Purgatio, up to a 30% discount. If you align yourself with the Ultramarines, you will get those themed emblems and inscriptions, and a discount up to 50% on the new Tier 10 tank destroyer, the Nemesis. Both teams will receive orc-themed emblems and inscriptions, as well as a discount up to 50% on the Teefbreaka Tier 9 light tank. Once Stage 1 is completed, you can then change teams for Stage 2 or choose the same team you aligned with in Stage 1. If you choose the same team, you will receive a silver compensation in place of the tank discounts. The rewards are the same as Stage 1 for each team, except for that shared reward. Instead of orc-themed emblems and inscriptions, you will get chaos-themed emblems and inscriptions, and instead of the Teefbreaka, each team will unlock a discount up to 30% for the Reaper's Scythe, a Tier 8 medium. Each stage of this event requires 15 million total points per team for the maximum rewards to be earned. You earn points the same way for both teams. Dealing 80,000 damage will get you 25 points only once, as well as destroying 75 tanks, giving you also 25 points, and a themed inscription, also only once. The repeatable points come from XP earned. You earn XP over any number of battles, and once getting a point, that XP requirement for the next point will increase by 500 more XP each time. This increased XP requirement resets back to the first requirement every day. You can unlock 2 more ways of gaining points by purchasing the tank that's aligned with your team, or the Leman Russ, and that will unlock another XP op like the one previously mentioned. As well as there is a third XP op, again the same, for purchasing the orc-themed or chaos-themed tanks. Now let's talk about those tanks. There are 5 of them to look at, and we'll start with the lower tiers and move up. The Reaper Scythe is only obtainable after Stage 1 is completed, and is the 430U skin that PC had, but turned into a Tier 8 medium tank. Looking at its stats, it has a 50% silver bonus, 1300 HP, and it goes 48 forward with a respectable powder weight of 14.29, 5 degrees of gun depression, and 370 meters base view range. Nothing too weird yet, but it has a standard AP round with 212 pen and 440 alpha, and then it gets a premium Hesh round with 165 pen and 530 alpha, and a standard HE round with 68 pen and 630 alpha. With an accuracy of 0.4 and an aim time of 2.3 seconds. Interestingly too, comparing the armor model given in this article to the color ranges of the 430U at Tier 10, they have basically the same armor, except for minor dark red to light red panels on the face, and a red to orange panel on the side of the cupola. So this tank brings down a Tier 10 medium with a very good armor profile, and seemingly keeps that armor profile, and also gives it Hesh rounds. Nothing too crazy unless that armor really isn't slimmed down within the same color ranges and isn't too much of a problem at Tier 8. This next tank though is wild. The Teefbreaka is the STB1 skin from PC also turned into a new tank. It is now a Tier 9 light tank with an autoloader and turbo mode. It has 1300 HP, 8 degrees of gun depression, and 410 meters base view range. It goes 62 kilometers an hour in normal mode, and in turbo it goes 76, with a 5 horsepower per ton increase up to 40.1 in turbo. Its gun is capable of dumping out a 15-round clip of 1200 damage potential in 6 seconds. Of course, if it pens all its rounds, which have 216 base pen and 236 premium pen, with both rounds being APDS. In turbo mode, it loses aim time from 1.7 to 2.9. But no penalty to its accuracy, unlike the other turbo mode tanks in the game. The other thing penalized in turbo mode is its reload, but as an autoloader it doesn't matter. You dump and then dip while reloading, and the reload is only longer by 1.2 seconds, with its base reload being 20.5 and its turbo mode reload being 21.7. This tank seemingly is incentivized to only be in turbo mode, unless it takes a hit to its camo too, which would only matter if you're trying to passive scout. As I see it, there's no need for the mode, as the playstyle I suspect will arise for this tank is run in and clip out and then stay in turbo mode. Comparing the armor profiles again too, we can actually see that the color ranges on the light tank version have better armor on the top of the upper plate, turret sides, cupola, and tracks, which I find quite an odd choice, but we will see if this is an issue on Tuesday, I suppose. For now, let's move on to the other tank that was a PC skin and then got turned into a full-fledged tank, the Nemesis, a tier 10 tank destroyer using the E100's model. 2100 HP with 7 degrees of gun depression and 360 meters base view range. Camo is not shown on these articles, but that 360 is on par with the Sturv. But there's no way this has the camo of the Sturv, so it's interesting to see it's not 370 or 380. The real interesting part of this tank is its rounds. They all share 280 pen, but they differ in alphas and reload times. The standard shot is a 700 alpha AP round with a reload of 19.8 base. This is a tank destroyer, so I want you to know that the Object 268 with 850 alpha has a base of 16 seconds, 150 more alpha for 3.8 seconds less of a reload. This round on the Nemesis has the same base reload as the T110E3, which again has 150 more alpha. The Turan 2 with 950 alpha has an 18.4 second base reload, 1.4 seconds better reload for 250 more alpha. The Heat round has an alpha of 875, higher than the 268 and all other 850s, but a reload of 24.7 seconds, which is almost 5 seconds longer than the average reload for those 850 alpha tanks. Not to mention again that the Turan's still having a higher alpha with a way better reload. Okay then, what about the third shell, called Rapid Fire? 350 alpha AP round with a 9.9 second reload. Well, the thing is, all these rounds' DPMs are basically the same. And since they all have the same pens, it's really about how often you want to fire. This is a weird way of doing it, in my opinion. The Heat round 2 is somehow the fastest, so I don't really know what round I would prefer. I will presume you cannot use the ammo swapper equipment, as you could cheese this in a way. But now let's look at that armor. It's an E100, right? But its side skirts are only 10mm rather than 60mm, and its upper plate was nerfed from red to yellow. It looks as if the armor behind the tracks is not 120mm anymore, and a red plate behind the mantlet was even nerfed. So this thing might not be as well armored as we think. Hell, even the dark red range of its face 2 is in the range of 230mm and more, meaning its face might not even be the same 270mm that the current E100 has. It could be 250 or even worse, 230 or 240. So we'll have to wait and see what its numbers are on Tuesday. But its armor will not hold up as well as the E100, and it has even less health than the Waffle. Since its heat is 280, it can also struggle against a lot of tanks too. So this thing really does not look exciting to me. It's still slow at a 30 top speed, and yeah, its horsepower per ton is better, but not by much. Low view range, only 280 pen and subpar DPM and armor that might not hold up. Its camo can't be good either, so I'm interested if this thing will be good or not. Again, we'll just have to wait and see on Tuesday. Before we get into the newly modeled tank, let's look over the bat chat that's being brought into Era 2 Cold War. The Ignis Purgatio, with a 50% silver bonus, 2500 HP, and 505 view range with 6 degrees of gun depression. It goes 65-4 with a good power to weight of nearly 35, though to be honest with you, I don't know what the averages are for Cold War tanks. So I don't know how good these stats are, but I can tell you it's in Cold War. It gonna go fast. The gun only has 5 clips available to you, but it's got a 3000 damage potential in those clips. Those clips hold 20 rounds with each doing 150 damage. The intro clip is 0.5 seconds, meaning it can unload that 3000 damage in 10 seconds. It has 280 standard pen of APDS rounds and 360 premium pen of APFSDS rounds. 37 seconds reload for the clip is quite a while. It will definitely cripple many tanks if it gets to pen all of its rounds. But even if it doesn't, it leaves them low. It has missiles too. Those missiles have 600 millimeters of pen and deal 700 alpha, and can hold 10 of them. However, it's not a clip. It's a singular missile and has a reload of a whopping 29 whole seconds. So to me, it doesn't seem OP, since its highest pen is 360 on its main gun, and yeah, it might clip someone out and finish them off with a missile, but then it has to run for 30 seconds to be able to defend itself. And in Cold War, I'm sure it'll be chased down during that time. The other French light tank's missiles hit harder and have clips, if I'm not mistaken. A clip size of 4. So this one really leans into that main gun, and then just has missiles as a side thing, I suppose. What I guess I'm trying to say is, I don't see this tank being a problem, and that's a good thing. Lastly, we have the brand new model tank, the Leman Russ, which is a tier 10 heavy tank that's been brought in from the Warhammer universe. It has shockingly 2500 HP, 7 degrees of gun depression, and 400 meters base view range. Already a good start. It goes 35 forward with a very respectable 15 power to weight. It has 232 standard AP pen with 304 premium APCR pen for 500 alpha, 85 HE pen for 620 alpha. With an accuracy of 0.36 and an aim time of 3.1 seconds, it's fairly decent stuff, especially with its 12.6 seconds base reload, which is nice and snug between 490 alpha and 530 alpha reloads. So it seems like a nice tank so far. Except that standard pen is far too low for a tier 10 that isn't a light tank, so it's quite odd to see that number at 232. This will definitely be one that spamming premium rounds in will be a common thing, seeing as they are APCR. If the standard was 260, that would be a lot better. The armor seems quite nice too, with dark red all over the front and orange on the lower plate, and yellow turret cheeks with spaced armor. Its cupola is large, which is nice to give a weak point to, but I'm wondering if that green hatch on the sponson on the front will be pennable. The sponson itself looks like spaced armor, since it looks thin and the red plate seems to continue behind it, so it would make me believe that that hatch is just spaced armor too. Speaking of sponsons, the ones on the side don't look to be weak points. And the sides look good too, if the blue is spaced armor and that green continues behind it. If that is the case, which I suspect it is, it shouldn't be easily overmatched when angling, so it may be capable of side scraping. This is definitely the one I'm looking forward to playing the most, as it looks like a decent new heavy tank with nice statistics. The Cold War one doesn't pique my interest, and the other three, I think, should have just been the skins that they were supposed to be. The TD looks disappointing, the light looks iffy, and the medium looks alright, but again, just unnecessary. Of course, these tanks are not the only content available for purchase, as we have the 2 Hero 3D commanders, the Ultramarine and the Sister of Battle, as well as 2D commanders that I believe were also on PC with some orcs and stuff. As usual, I will leave all the articles down in the description for you guys to check out and read up on, but that has been your preview of the Warhammer event and tanks. I myself cannot wait to play the Leman Russ. Thank you for watching. Take care.